we're talking about Acumatica today. We're talking about automating the collections process, payment, and shipping inside of Acumatica with 3 leading ISVs, integrated software vendors. I'm joined today by Devin Lildhar. He's a Senior Channel Development Manager over at YayPay. He's going to be talking about automating the accounts receivable processes in Acumatica. Matt St. John, he's a Senior Sales Executive over at StarShip. He'll be talking about automating shipping processes inside Acumatica. And Robert Ullman, he's the ERP Sales Consultant over at Fortis. And just a little bit about the companies. Quadient, YayPay, is the accounts receivable automation tool that will be talking about how to take Acumatica to another level by helping with processing sales orders. Quadient AR, powered by YayPay, helps you continue your order to cash process in a platform that's built to give you increased insight and flexibility in your AR operations. Quadient AR integrates with Acumatica and helps unlock all those capabilities that might not be in the out-of-the-box Acumatica solution when it comes to accounts receivable. Devin's going to go further into cash collection for sales orders and entering users, customers into workflows to help expedite those accounts receivable, day sales outstanding, get the collections process more streamlined. And StarShip was founded in 1987, very mature shipping related product. Provides multi-carrier shipping software that connects your warehouse to your front office. They partner with dozens of parcel and LTL carriers, FedEx, USPS, UPS, OnTrack, LTL carriers, DHL, Holland, UPS, YRC, Old Dominion, and Pitt, Ohio. They have very strong integration with Acumatica, but they've been in the business of integrating with leading ERP softwares for several years. So with that, the legacy system, Dynamics GP, Dynamics 365 Business Central, Sage 100, Sage 300, QuickBooks, SAP Business One, and Epicor. They also have very strong integration with Amazon, eBay, Magento, Squarespace, BigCommerce, and WooCommerce. And Matt will talk a little bit more about that. And then Fortis is a leading provider of integrated payment technology solutions for North American merchants. They have very strong relationships with a multiple platform model where they'll really look at the unique needs of the customer when it comes to payments and automate those processes for customers and pick the right solution to fit that model of customer. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Devin to get us started with Quadient. Thank you, Devin.
Okay, well, thank you everyone again for providing me the opportunity to sit in front of you today. It is a great afternoon here. Today, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about accelerating collections and cash flow for Acumatica. So again, my name is Devin Lildhar. I come from an organization called Quadient. We recently just acquired a company called YayPay about 2 years ago. YayPay was born and bred out of New York, so an American-born organization. Quadient took them over and has added them to our portfolio of business process automations tools. And so there's a lot that we can cover in terms of helping to support organizations, regardless of what the business need might be. Today, we're going to focus in on what YayPay can do and on the accounts receivable side. And I love to get started a little bit with a quote from one of our existing customers. This is from Edita at Digital Remedy. This is a great example of an organization that used YayPay, Quadient AR, to really support their business in terms of shoring up time spent handling invoices and processing invoices manually and reconciling those back into their ERP environment. So they were sending hundreds of invoices each month, and follow-up with customers was manual and tedious, and collections have really improved after implementing Quadient AR. And so what does that mean, right? A lot of finance teams, what they don't really recognize is that outside of what's baked into the ERP is that there's a great number of tools that can really support to speed up the collections process and provide your customers with a very easy and simple way to access those invoices, understand who might have invoices that are outstanding, provide a good understanding of when cash flow might come through the door. And so the full case study on Digital Remedy is available. And if anyone would like to see any other case studies that we have a number of them. I'm happy to provide those out to everyone after this call. So let's talk about what's happening in accounts receivables today. So right now, I know that we're kind of sitting in a little bit of uncertain times when it comes to the economic situation. So the last few years have really felt like we're constantly moving from just one crisis to another. So starting with the pandemic to the supply chain crisis, and now this existing situation that we're all dealing with, where inflation and the risk of recession just seems to be top of mind for everyone. In accounts receivable, this has really meant an increase in late payments. So CreditSafe's latest industry report found that 25% of all US B2B payments are late. Companies are holding on to their money for as long as possible and looking for ways to set money aside in case of a recession. So like you, they might also be dealing with late payments from their own customers, delaying their ability to make their own payments on time. And in addition, high interest rates are leading to lower levels of borrowing and an increase in debt. Taken all together, this really creates for the perfect storm for credit risk. So especially if you're reliant on manual accounts receivables processes, really cash flow is top of mind for a lot of organizations these days. So why exactly does manual AR pose such a threat to business success? So the most obvious answer to that is that it really wreaks havoc on your cash flow. So organizations using manual processes take 67% more time to follow up on overdue payments. They also have a 30% higher DSO than companies that automate. Despite the fact that AR is considered an asset on a balance sheet, your balance sheet often doesn't differentiate funds you are owed from those you actually have on hand. In reality, that money is essentially frozen until payment is actually received. And this can make it near impossible to accurately plan for future financial needs. So again, within Quadient's AR platform, we really have a great way for anybody within the organization, be it a CFO, people sitting within the finance team, accounts receivables, clerks, to at any point in the day, log in, view what is likely to come through the door, what cash flow is likely to come through the door down to the day. So you can say in 10 days, maybe John's likely to pay his invoices after 10 days of receiving them. You know, we're expecting $10,000 to come through the door. So it's a really, really accurate way of predicting cash flow for most businesses. And just as concerning, manual accounts receivable is really a burden for your customers. So let's talk a little bit about that. So it's costly, right? So it might seem hard to believe in this day and age, but 25% of all B2B payments are still made using checks. Not only is this a slow and inconvenient process, but it takes a toll on your customers. So just like you, your customers want to convert money quickly, especially in a volatile economy. They're throwing money away using checks, and it can cost them as much as $25 to produce each one of them. Checks also have a long processing time, so typically taking between 5 and 10 days to clear. This leaves customers' bank accounts in financial limbo. They're also extremely vulnerable to fraud. So an annual study by JP Morgan found that last year, 66% of organizations were subject to attempted fraud when using check payments. This is significantly more than wire transfers at 39% and ACH payments at 19% and credit cards at 24%. Customers want to know that they can make payments quickly and securely when doing business with your organization. And checks just generally don't offer either of those benefits. And so what we're really seeing within the market landscape these days is that B2B organizations, even those traditional organizations, maybe manufacturers, distributors, wholesalers, that were very hesitant to move towards digital payments, be that credit cards, ACH processing, we're noticing that shift happen very quickly. And so more organizations are moving away from checks, but that also means that making the right decision when you're choosing to move away from checks and making sure that you have those systems in place to collect on invoices correctly is also very important. So the truth is, dull customer experiences really do harm businesses. So incredibly, 86% of customers will leave after just 2 negative experiences. According to Amplify, which is a leading customer experience organization, the service that you provide in accounts receivables does matter, and it really is increasing in importance. So why? Because B2B service is just generally expected to mirror B2C experiences. People are no longer comparing their bank's mobile app to another bank's mobile app. They're measuring it up to their Starbucks app experience or their Amazon purchasing experience. If a service is slow or inconvenient and difficult to use in general, the chances are that customers will go elsewhere. And if we really sit down and think about it, we all would, because just in today's day and age, we're all used to self-serve types of platforms, and that's true even when it comes to B2B now and moving forward. And let's not forget how staff are feeling. So 63% of employees are suffering generally from burnout, according to Gallup's global opinion polls. And whether it's due to pandemic pressures, economic uncertainty, or remote work isolation, people are just generally challenged. And the last thing they need is disgruntled customers that disrupt their work and damage their morale. So again, providing great customer service helps to protect your customer base. And now you might be thinking, how does YayPay or Quadient AR help to solve that? Well, directly within our platform, we have a customer self-serve facing platform that allows for customers to actually, when they're looking at invoices or even just generally looking at the state of their account within that platform, to actually write notes or dispute invoices directly within that platform so that the correct individuals from the organization can get notified. So instead of picking up the phone and calling the person that might have closed the sale, maybe now they're connecting very directly with the finance team and making sure that disputes and customer service related issues are being handled in the correct way. So how do we improve efficiency and growth in tough times? So really quickly, we're going to go through this. I know I have limited time here. So the three key pillars for efficiency and growth that we think of here at Quadient are collections, payments, and customer service. So today's customers expect to be able to make payments at any time and really from anywhere. But why exactly is this the case? Well, 50% of the US workforce say that their jobs can be managed remotely, according to Forbes. The same study found that 54% say that they'd move jobs if they couldn't work remotely. And with that being the case, you also need to ask if your customers can fulfill payment obligations no matter where they're working from. Accenture found that 67% of customers prefer self-service, and that's 2 in 3. So if you're offering them a process that enables this, you're really empowering your customer base. So the 4 parts of a modern multifaceted payment experience. There are 4 really key components to this. One is convenience. That's the ability to pay from anywhere at any time. Speed of payment. Customers generally don't want to take a long time to make payments, and nor should you. Multiple payment options. They want flexibility, and they don't want to have to pay the same way every time. And the great thing is that we have an organization sitting on the call with us, and you'll hear from them here in just a little bit, Fortis, which is another great way to talk about payments options and the ways that your organization can leverage the tools that exist within the Acumatica ecosystem to really work together. For example, Quadient AR and Fortis, so that you can really take your business to the next level and have the best payments platform in place. Security, the last one, they also need to be assured that their data is protected and secure. So making sure that you are working with organizations that are keeping your data as secure as possible, be that if you are doing any business in Europe, GDPR regulations, in the US, Canada, making sure that all regulations are followed and that security is top of mind. So the need for speed, self-service. So again, the only way to really fulfill these expectations is through an AR self-service portal. So customers can access and download all of their current and past due invoices, see their payment history, and submit requests to the AR department, like I mentioned, directly within the Quadient AR payment portal. They can also settle their debts with flexible and secure payment options via wire, ACH, or credit card. These capabilities increase the speed at which your invoices are paid, and they really do improve your customer satisfaction. And customers enjoy a direct channel of communication to your AR team. They can raise disputes within the portal, and these are automatically tied to the relevant invoice and directed to the appropriate AR team member. This increases transparency and speed of resolution. The bottom line is that you're making your customers' lives easier and you're increasing their trust in your business. And when customers appreciate and trust you, they end up paying you, and often much quicker. So to round this off, we should mention the importance of ensuring your team's customer service skills are up to par, right? And so that's just making sure that you're really delivering as an organization the best customer service experience that you can possibly provide to your customers. So how is this achieved? Generally, from my experience, you want to take these steps to really establish your team as an extension of your customer service function. Customers expect your team to be well-versed in matters both inside and outside of AR. Why? Because you're often their primary touch point, working with them from cradle to grave. A best practice is to include quality assurance goals in your finance KPIs. You can do this by using net promoter scores or customer surveys to make sure that your team always completes the customer problem cycle. If you're not doing this, customer problems are left unresolved. This frustrates them, and it really doesn't get you paid, at least not on time. Remember as well, hitting your collections KPIs may help you achieve your monthly targets, but providing a positive experience that improves customer retention and spend with your organization will really provide long-term sustainable outcomes that improves your general financial performance. So just to cap this off, accelerating cash flow means the following. So it really means, that maybe we all need to take some time and freshen up our collections, make sure they're fast, consistent, and personalized. Clean up your payments process, make sure your customers can pay flexibly, and brush up your customer service skills. Make sure your AR teams treat this as a priority, because it really is, right? It really is the central part of all organizations today. So again, really quickly, what Quadient AR solves for. We are an intelligent AR platform trusted by finance professionals to automate the entire accounts receivables process, from credit to cash application, reducing manual work and saving time. Collections teams generally see a 3 times increase in productivity, and there's a really strong ROI against any of our integrations with any of the organizations that we work with. If there are any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. This is my contact information, and I'll pass it off.
So let's talk a little bit about who Fortis is. Let's go through a couple of things. This isn't going to be the typical presentation, just because we like to do things a little bit differently here. We're not going to go through a live demo on this presentation, but if you would like to set up a live demo, we're happy to do that and talk you through anything that is needed. But we'll talk a little bit first about who Fortis is and kind of what we do. We've been in the industry for over 20 years. We are approaching 300 employees and about 475 agents and partners. We have about 45,000 merchants here, and obviously the slide needs to be updated, but we are doing billions in transactions a year. So a couple of differentiators here is that, one, we do own our own gateway, and we are an acquiring processor. What that means is we do our own underwriting, and we have the ability to rapid develop on our gateway. With that, the payment processing technology that we push through is kind of second to none, and Fortis gateway features. So we do credit and debit card processing. We do have cloud EMV capable devices. That is a differentiator. Most payments providers say that they have integrated cloud EMV devices. When it comes to fruition, they do not generally have them, or if they do, they are not working in full capacity. So we do offer that. It is something that not everybody in the B2B space needs, but if you do have that need, we can fulfill that need for you. We do quick invoicing, click to pay, invoice chasing. We have text to pay and surcharging, cash discounting. What that means is that you, as the end user, have the ability to charge the client or pass the merchant processing fees onto the client and do it in an integrated way. We have hosted payments page options, and we are capable of doing all of the trendy Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay, NFC, and 3D Secure. We are working on a buy now, pay later solution and cryptocurrency solution that should be out Q1 of 2023. Next, please. So as I said, we are going to do things a little bit differently today. We're going to talk through a couple of industry gotchas and what to look for. This is an actual agreement from a processing vendor in the integrated payment space. So first and foremost, what you want to look for here is the term of the agreement. How long are you locked into the contract? And most of the time, it's a standard 3-year term agreement. Some processors do a 1-year follow-up term, and some do more than that. You see on this one, it's actually a 3-year term agreement with a rolling 3-year term if you don't cancel within the 90 days before your term is up. So essentially what you're doing here is you're actually signed up for 6 years if you're not paying close attention. One of the other big gotchas is that you, in most of these contracts, are waiving your rights to all claims or loss or damage. Basically, how that is capitalized upon is in your operating account or your checking account that you've put on file. So essentially what you're doing when you sign up with a merchant service provider, if you have this clause in there, is you're giving up your security interest, allowing them full access to your bank account for whatever it is that they would like to charge you, or what's in the fine print of the contract. So definitely look for these in the contract fine print, and if you need assistance, we do have legal professionals on staff that are here to help with that. Next, please. So indemnification, what you want to see is a mutual indemnification. One-sided indemnification basically means that the processor has the insurance policy against you. Basically, they're harmless against any loss, damages, claims, liabilities, and expenses. Again, you want to have a mutual indemnification clause in your contract 100% of the time. That way you're both covered. It's a mutual contract, and everybody feels good about it. Next, please. So here's kind of a tricky way that exclusivity is worded. So exclusivity, basically what that means is that you are only going to work with one merchant processor and one relationship. And if you are working with someone else and your volume goes down by 50% or more, then you will see generally a damage in by way of a fee coming out of your account. And basically what that means is that when you sign up for this, and there's a liquidated damages clause in the actual agreement. So in this agreement, liquidated damages means that if you have or make a merchant service provider a certain amount of money, for round numbers, we'll say you make them $400 a month, and you've signed up for that 36-month term agreement, then you, if you want to get out of the agreement before that 36 months is up, say you've done 12 months of that agreement, you have 24 months left, and if you've made them, say, $400 a month on that agreement throughout the average of the 12 months, then you would owe them the $400 a month times the 24 months remaining on that contract. So as you can see, it actually gets to be a pretty large number if you don't read that fine print. Next, please. So this is one that we found recently in one of the contracts that were presented to us, and it is from integrated payments provider. So what this means is that if you state your volume and say your volume when you sign up for that merchant services agreement is 100,000 in stated volume. Say you process 300,000 in actual volume, you basically it equates to 400 times the stated volume. Basically, what it means in this case is $25 per every 500 additional in processing volume that you do. You receive the $25 fee. So essentially, you're 400 times over your stated volume times $25. So you're looking at an additional $4,800 fee. Again, this is in the fine print of the contract, and it's not in every contract, but you do want to be wary. You want to be careful of what you're signing up for. This is a completely new one, and it's the first time that I've seen it, but it is out there, so definitely keep your eyes open for it.
Did we lose Maya?
Apologies.
Go ahead.
I got it, Rob. No worries. Apologies. I'm not sure what's going on with the connection today, guys. So here's another thing. When you are signing up for a merchant services agreement or with a new provider, you want to work with somebody that you know and trust, or somebody that has been referred to you by somebody that you've worked with in the past or has had a good experience. So in this slide, what we're going over is grossly overstated savings. So, what the big shiny object is in most of these agreements is, what am I going to save over, the months of this contract? And what you'll see a lot of times is level 3 savings overstated by a lot. In this case, what you see is 693 transactions were processed in that month, and 602 of them are showing as level 3 interchange optimized. And basically what that means is that data was passed through the gateway in the authorization process for business-to-business transactions, and therefore getting you a lower interchange rate. In actuality, what happens is most clients, most business-to-business clients will do 20 to 40% B2B transactions that are interchange optimizable. So, in this case, out of the 693, you may see, a couple hundred transactions that are interchange optimizable, a lot of times less than that. Therefore, the volume and the actual fee that you're seeing for that is going to be a lot lower than your state, than they're stating on the actual savings proposal. So in this case, this sample, which is actually a real proposal that somebody presented to us, is overstated by a lot, and therefore when it comes out in the wash, you're going to see a lot less savings than what is shown on the proposal. At the end of the day, really just know how to look at the math. And if you need assistance to look at the math, kind of go through what they're showing on there, we're happy to help. Again, we're here to do whatever we can to make the process a little bit easier. So the return on investment, and why we put this slide in is because we partner with a lot of third-party vendors. And what happens is, in integrated payments, a lot of people do not know that payments is integrated. There are a lot of vendors out there that do it, and at the end of the day, you have a lot of options when it comes to that. Payments is something that you can always save money in if you're working with the right vendor. And so what we do here, and what we're trying to point out, is that when you have to buy services or solutions that help your business run better, payments is an easy way to make that ROI work for you, right? So whatever you're spending on that, you can actually save in using integrated payments. And by using integrated payments, especially those vendors that do level 2 and level 3 processing. That is one of the only ways that you're going to be able to save money up front to help you pay for these additional, additional products that will make your business run better. The way that we look at it is as payments consultants. So regardless of who you're working with, who you want to work with, who you have worked with, try to work with people that look at it as consultants, because they generally have the heart of a teacher. They're generally a neutral party, and find efficiencies and gotchas that others won't. Generally a main benefit of working with a payments consultant is they offer multiple options for consideration, even if the options are not their own, right? So at the end of the day, we work with you and with your partner to help find those efficiencies. And if it's something that we do not have, we'll point you in the right direction for somebody that does have it, even if it's a competitor. So here's another thing that we offer that not many do. We offer our direct contact information. We also have an ERP experience team that will help you out with anything that you can think of as far as support goes. We do have the ERP experience team bookings site. You can go there and book a time with them anytime you need assistance. You can schedule demos there, training, support, PCI compliance, assistance. And one thing that I want to kind of point out and make sure that we go over is that PCI assistance, right? It's a super dry subject. Nobody wants to do it. You do have to do it once a year. And it's a lot of questions if you're, doing the wrong PCI assistance, right? And so what we do is we help point you in the right direction, make sure that all of that is the correct SAQ and that you are doing the right PCI compliance certification for your business. So we do offer the Fortis Challenge as well, and we want to put our money where our mouth is. And so what we do is we always say, hey, if you send us your merchant statements and we cannot save you money, we will pay for 10 hours of consulting time with your Acumatica reseller, right? So that helps out in addition to, the other things that we've mentioned. 10 hours of consulting time these days is definitely not inexpensive, but again, we're willing to put our money where our mouth is. If you want to send over a merchant statement or two, we're happy to take a peek at it, and we're definitely not going to overstate the savings. We will walk you through what you can do better, where you can save money, and the gotchas of anything that you want us to look at. So as I said, you have our direct contact information. We'll make sure that you have our direct phone numbers as well. If you do have any questions or would like a live demo, we're happy to set that up for you, or you can do it on our booking site for the ERP experience team.
Thank you so much for taking time to join our webinar. We really appreciate it. Real quick, again, my name is Matt St. John. I'm the Senior Sales Executive here at V Technologies. And I know Adrian gave a brief summary of V Technologies as a company, but kind of want to go into a little bit more detail on that. So as you mentioned, we have been developing integrated shipping solutions since 1987. At V Technologies, that's all we do. And next thing too, everything we're doing is in-house. So if you needed support, you're going to call our team right in the office in Connecticut. We're not outsourcing support, development, QA, so on and so forth. We are a UPS-ready provider, Platinum FedEx compatible solution. Basically, we're UPS and FedEx. So things like our shipping labels are going to be delivered to you already certified. We go through those pains so you don't have to. Also, because we're a certified solution for the carrier programs, I don't know if anyone's taking advantage of those, but we are part of those programs. So just know that you could use the funding that you qualify for those carriers to purchase StarShip. Now, at VTech, again, all we do is integrated shipping solutions. We do integrate with over a dozen other ERP systems, but of course today, talking about the deep integration with Acumatica. We've been working with Acumatica for 7 years now, going on our 8th year. We are actually one of the longest integrated shipping solutions that have been working with Acumatica. And over the 35 years that we've actually been in business, we've had over 10,000 companies that have used StarShip to help streamline their day-to-day shipping activities. Okay, so let me jump over to my demo machine. All right, so on my machine right now is the StarShip program. As you can see, it does live outside of Acumatica. But the nice thing with that, really as a shipper, maybe out in the warehouse on those shipping workstations, we really just need to be inside of StarShip. I don't have to jump from Acumatica. I don't need to have Acumatica up and running or open. But with that being said, it is still a live connection. So up top here, these are just the different source documents we can pull by. So we can pull by sales order, shipment, or even a customer record. Honestly, most clients, it is, of course, by the shipment record, especially if you are using like Acumatica's WMS system. But just know if you don't want to create the shipment records inside of Acumatica and you want to pull by sales order numbers, on write back, StarShip will actually create that shipment record inside of Acumatica for you. And of course, update with all the shipping information like I'll show you on this live demo. Now, also, Adrian mentioned how we do integrate with other like LTL, small parcel type carriers, e-commerce. So if you're not using any of the Acumatica built-in e-commerce integrations, again, we do have integrations with e-commerce sites. And with that, I kind of always say it's more on the back end, where once we process a shipment, StarShip is going to update Acumatica with the shipping information, but we can also update that order on the e-commerce site. So mark it complete, send up things like tracking numbers. So again, it's just I have some clients that do that. So just keep that in mind if you are looking to kind of integrate with an e-commerce solution. Right. So StarShip is what we call multi-carrier, multi-mode. So we are going to be able to process just through StarShip small parcel, LTL, blind drop shipment type shipments, even one-offs. We don't have to pull by any of these source fields. I do have some clients that, hey, we pull by the sales or we send out samples and we don't create sales orders for those. So you can just click create shipment, use StarShip. Maybe an employee wants to ship something, or even the case with samples. If the customer is already set up, you could even just change this over to customer, and then StarShip is simply going to map in all the customer's information. All right. But again, most clients we do pull by that shipment record, and with the shipment, here's the source field. So we can just scan in that shipment number if it is barcoded. StarShip does support a regular wedge type plug and play scanner. Also, we do support multiple companies, warehouses, branches. So it's if you have multiple companies, how we configure that. But out of the box, we do support all things like that. Some other features StarShip supports, again, being a live connection. Nice thing there is as we're, in this case, I'll just use shipment as my source, but as we're adding new shipment records, of course, StarShip is going to automatically be picking those up. Also, if we're making changes or we need to revise an existing shipping record, because they're sitting in this lookup queue, doesn't mean they're locked inside of Acumatica. So I could technically go into Acumatica and modify 3575, and as soon as I do that, StarShip is going to be picking up those changes. Okay, so again, nice thing, live connection. Now, down below, I can, as a shipper, if I wanted to, instead of typing in or scanning in a shipment record, I can manually look them up. If I want to use that workflow, we can sort by any of these columns. Actually, as a shipper, I can configure this whole lookup. So when I log in, it's already configured to my preferences. So we can sort, they could add, remove columns, kind of drag, drop columns around, over here is add, remove. Or maybe we want to narrow the search result. We can even apply a filter and filter this by an Acumatica field. Okay. Batch processing is something else we support, where I can select as many, in this case, again, shipments as I need, and process them just with a few clicks of a button. But in this scenario, I'll just quickly kind of grab a single individual shipment and just kind of quickly go through, and this will be a brief overview. And I always say that, and I always end up digging down into all the details, but I'll try to not do that today. So with StarShip, one of the main things I want to talk about here is that integration with Acumatica. Now, of course, it's with API, but really the way we communicate with Acumatica is simple data mapping of fields. So we can take any of these StarShip fields and simply map them to either standard Acumatica fields, reference fields, custom fields, attribute fields. So we really want to set this up by using as many fields as we can from Acumatica So as a shipper, when I'm processing shipments, the less things I have to click, type, touch, of course, the better. And so all this information is automatically going to be mapped in. I don't have to stop and fill out information. Again, that's how we want to set things up. Now, even in this case where I'm pulling by a shipment record, doesn't mean I'm limited to just shipment fields or tables inside Acumatica. We can look at maybe a field on customer maintenance, or for example, we want to do a third-party shipment and we want to automatically look and bring in a third-party account number. Maybe we assign that on the sales order using a custom field or attribute field. We can map that in. So again, the main thing here is we want to streamline that whole shipping process. So even things like sender information, we could set this up where, oh, hey, StarShip automatically knows to change this. Like, I need to do a blind shipment from Home Depot. And now as a shipper, I don't have to stop and manually change this. Again, it's simple data mapping. That way, if you want us to bring in an additional field, maybe it's a custom field that you created, we don't have to go and reprogram everything. We just go in and tell StarShip, okay, for example, for the address ID, look at that Acumatica field, maybe it's on the sales order header. And if you see that information, automatically make the selection inside of StarShip for the shipper. Okay. Recipient information, ship to, just a simple ship to info that's already inside of Acumatica. But StarShip will do address validation. We do validate zip +4 as well as that residential commercial flag. And of course, if anything gets changed, we can have StarShip update it here, and we can also reverse translate that back into Acumatica on the shipment record. Transportation, simple. It's going to take your ship via codes and have StarShip automatically select carrier service account information. Billing type, we can automate that. If you are doing third-party collect type shipments, we can have this come in, and as a shipper now, I don't even have to touch any of this. It's already selected the billing type as third-party and grab my customer's account information. In this case, I'm just using StarShip's database because we do have a database for that. But if you wanted to, of course, we could use it pulling from Acumatica. Shipment details, these are just all our shipping options. So I flagged insurance inside Acumatica, automatically flagged inside of StarShip. Okay, and then I have some options that are defaulted. But really in a live environment, first thing a shipper is going to go to is this packaging. And this is where, if we want, we can get into adding boxes, getting weight, dimensions. If you are using a WMS, just know however you define the shipping details through the WMS system, that's how it's going to flow into StarShip. So you can do item, package information, even the package types or names, dimensions if you want to just scan those in, weights. I have clients that do that. But now, as a shipper, I don't have to worry about stopping and doing anything. But if we're not, we can also manually do that inside StarShip. So for example, I'll just quickly drag this item into this Acer package. As you see, it is simple drag and drop. This is just a drop down where you could set up custom packages, just like inside of Acumatica. So I could define the package type, our quantities, actual weight, either from a scale. My system, I have them all set up inside Acumatica, automatically brings that in. A nice thing with StarShip is we are also always going to run the carrier's dimensional calculation. So in this scenario, where anytime we have a difference, StarShip is going to rate shop at the correct dimensional weight. And then when we process the shipment, it's going to go to the carrier at that correct dimensional weight as well. So later on, you're not going to receive that bill. It says, hey, you sent that out as 10 pounds. Dimensionally, it's 13. Here's the difference. Okay. So real quick, that's where we can get into packaging, adding boxes, weights. And then if we'd like, we could simply scroll down here. And this is where we can see all that live rate shopping. So StarShip is going to ping either small parcel, LTL. I actually have a rule here that just tells StarShip, hey, you know what? Just only show me my small parcel carriers, because this is a small parcel shipment. Okay, so we can do things like that. But again, it's a live call. So we're going to return things like business days, total days, ETA. Contract is going to be your live negotiated rate that you have with the carrier. And then applied charges in StarShip terms is usually what we try to push back into Acumatica as what you want to charge the customer. Those can also include freight rules. So here I just have a simple rule. It says, hey, anytime it's a bartender, they receive a 10% discount. Another rule where I can go down to line item detail. Nope, shipping something fragile. Let's add a flat rate of $3. All right. So now in this case, again, I could just bring this in, do some packaging if I'm not using a WMS, maybe get weights. Even the rate shopping, if you want to do things like best way shipping, we can do that. But here I'll just do ship and process. And with this was an international shipment. And in that case, I actually inside StarShip database, we do have a database for your inventory items. And in that database, we can store things like NMFC codes, subcodes, freight classes. This case being international, I have all that required international data already set up. So again, I don't have to stop and manually fill out anything. I'm just going to bring this in, maybe, again, get some weights, do some rate shopping, print my documents. So once we click ship and process, StarShip normally will just print out all these documents. So of course, we'll send that shipping label to a thermal printer or printers. With StarShip, we can tell it where each of the documents get printed to. We can print packing lists, and they could be child packing slips, master packing lists. They could be customized. Again, if you're doing a blind drop shipment, we can have a special one. For example, a lot of our clients ship for Home Depot. So they have a special packing list that has Home Depot logo information, even has a return section. And StarShip knows, okay, the shipments for Home Depot automatically print that special packing list. All right. So again, we've got all our documents, international documents, if you like, as you see on these two. Everything's already filled out. I don't have to stop and populate anything or manually sign anything. But once we ship and process inside StarShip, StarShip just generates our document, takes me right back to the main StarShip screen, basically rinse, repeat, go through that again. And with inside Acumatica now, again, this is a live connection back and forth. So as soon as we click ship and process, StarShip's going to mark that shipment confirmed on the shipping, pushing back freight cost, freight price, so what you're going to be charged by the carrier, what you want to charge the customer, and then on the packaging, in this case, I built this one inside of StarShip, still reverse translating back package IDs, what I put in each box with the quantities, same thing down here, my tracking information. This is a UPS demo account, so it comes back with all X's. Just know in a live environment, it would be the actual tracking number. Also a nice feature of StarShip, we have a built-in custom write back feature. So if you wanted to, you could actually take additional shipping information and send it back into, again, attribute fields, maybe these reference fields. So here, I'm actually always sending back, I was working with a client that dimensional weight was a big thing for them. So, hey, we're always pushing back dim weight and then the ETA from the carrier. Also, we can create a note. On that note, again, it's up to you. And it's kind of what I showed that client where, okay, let's compare scale weight to dim weight so you can keep track of those ones that dim weight is taking over. All right, so again, just a lot of different options with that. Some other features StarShip includes rate shop from sales order entry. So we will give the ability for the front office customer service reps to go inside sales order entry, click a StarShip button, and it's basically going to open up the same screen I showed you, except it's rate quote mode. So they can't really process a shipment, but they can still do item box detail, do that live rate shopping. Maybe they want to do address validation ahead of time. A nice thing with that, once they click accept, StarShip will automatically update the sales order with that freight quote. If they changed any of the ship vias, the addresses get changed due to validation, that will be all updated. And then also we have our dashboard program, which is really just a big reporting tool, and anyone can access this, just like the rate shop. It is included with StarShip, and it does not require, both these programs do not require any additional user seats or licenses. So as you see, just a breakdown of a bunch of reports and matrix. But the next thing in here I want to show you is the eNotify program. This is also included with StarShip, and with the eNotify, you can actually create your own custom email documents and then use those to send them out to your customers. So instead of being branded with the carriers, you could have it branded with your company information, show them Acumatica fields, PO, sales order, where it's going, number of packages. ETA is always being returned as a live, so that's all, coming from the carrier, so that's accurate. And then here I'm doing actual package breakdown. Package 1, this is what you ordered, what we're shipping. This is what's in package 2. Hyperlink tracking number, kick them to the carrier's website so they can track. And then with these, you can actually design your unlimited templates and then assign emailing rules. So here I just have a 20% off promo code. I can kick them back to my website if I need to. But the nice thing is, maybe I only want this template to go to certain customers. So you could create that rule, and of course, StarShip would follow it. So again, just want to give a brief overview about StarShip and some of the functionality. Adrian will put up my contact information at the end here. But feel free. More than happy to schedule discovery, live one-on-one demos. If you are a current StarShip user, also business process reviews. We can go through workflows, make sure you have StarShip set up to, streamline your shipping the best possible way. With that, I'll hand it back to Adrian.
Everybody take care. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye.